welcome to How to Walk the Earth with Wisdom. Today is conflict resolution, and we're going to be looking at an article and seeing what it says about how to resolve conflict. Conflict is more than a disagreement. It is a deeply rooted problem between two or more people that dictates their attitude toward one another. Whether you are trying to resolve a conflict you have with another or trying to help two colleagues, there are many similarities in the resolution process. Figuring out the dimensions of the conflict. A disagreement may not equate to a conflict. However, if someone acts way more upset or angry than the situation calls for, look closer at the behavior. This may indicate that they either have an internal conflict or source of stress. On the other hand, if their anger is directed at another, the two might have conflict that needs resolving. For example, getting very angry that your friend broke a disposable plastic cup is a disappropriate response. Think about the relationship with them to figure out if the behavior or past action has upset you deeply. So when we encounter things, we need to weigh it out. How upset are we going to be if someone breaks a plastic cup? Because obviously plastic cups are literally disposable. But I guess, if there is a drink in the plastic cup, like water, and it spills on something, then that you would kind of weigh that a little bit more. And then if the cup is, glass and it shatters, this first part of the article is saying kind of weigh how serious an issue is and adjust yourself appropriately. 2. Think about tension that exists outside disputes. If you have a conflict with someone, you will always harbor ill will toward them, whether or not you are currently disputing something. If you find yourself upset upon their entering the room, you may need to resolve a conflict. So basically this step 2 is saying, hey, if you don't try to address the elephant in the room metaphorically, then you kind of have to, it'll just keep building, and it'll be super awkward, and you won't have that smoothness as when all parties, all people, forgive, all people look to have a good relationship. The next part is think about how others color your perceptions. It is human nature to view comments or actions relative to the person who said them. However, if you find yourself consistently diminishing the ideas or work of others without much thought, you may have a conflict with them. So this part, is, are you sort of, being judgmental? Are you upset because, like a person is African American or a woman or a Jewish descent? Or are they white? Are they Mexican? Are you treating them differently because they are different from you? And you might have to work on that. Especially if you're going to be wanting mindfulness to know, okay, I am upset with this person because, I keep having tension between them. So, how can I resolve this so it's not awkward? Okay. Resolving your conflict with another. Remain calm. Tempers will stand in the way of working through your differences. After all, the goal is making peace with one another and not getting revenge. Respectfully communicate to them through a mediator if necessary that you should both take some time to calm down. Then agree on a time and place to discuss and resolve your conflict. I've heard this said before, especially in a marriage or in some sort of other party, that you want to bring someone in that is neutral, that is not for one person or the other over the other, and they can help you kind of work through your problem. I've gone to marriage counseling before. As in the Christian faith, people believe that, being a Christian, we believe that Jesus, he helps us mediate he helps us communicate to God, the Father, and so God, he is, much more than what we sometimes think of him. And so Jesus, he is that mediator. And in the same way, in a lot of our different disputes that we may have, we have to try to resolve them, especially with a counselor or with a psychologist or with somebody that can help. Okay. And then it also said to just remain calm. So now this is the kind of power segment. So make a list of your concerns. Allow the other person to talk. Ask questions. Be creative. Take breaks. If you feel like one of you or both of you are getting too emotional, feel free to take a break, and then come back and talk about it. So, that's a good point. I thought of when asking questions, if you have a dispute with someone, are you asking questions to them to try to understand where they're coming from and like why they believe what they believe? Or are you just kind of stating what you believe and you're not really listening to that other person? And so I think that comes up for me because maybe I'm not always trying to seek to understand that other person, but I'm just trying to tell that other person what I believe in and why I think I'm right about something, instead of trying to understand why that person has their issue or, why they believe what they believe. So that's the best thing to do. Stay away from negative talk. So I think this also from ourselves, if we have an issue with somebody, we have to stay away from negative talk and not, bring the other person down. So focus on the positive things instead of saying things like can't, don't, no. The negative words will only make the conflict harder to resolve. Find something you can agree on. Look for compromise. Yeah, that's what I hear a lot is, if you feel like you're the strong person that, you feel like when you are in an argument that you always are wanting to get your way, then, for me, I have to, go ahead and be like, if I can be strong in trying to get my way, then I can also be strong in letting that other person get their way. And if they want to go to a movie and I'm like, no, I do not want to see that movie, I have to just, which has literally been something that I have experienced, I have to be like, okay, and during that day, I actually did, we ended up actually going to see that movie, and it worked out better than me just being like, no, I don't want to see that movie, and then, an argument comes up, and the point of that is, one, it's a movie. It's not really a big deal. Like, it's a small thing. It's not a big thing. So, yeah. Think about whether you are an ideal mediator. You might see yourself as a talented counselor or friend or friendly shoulder to cry on. However, you may not be the best mediator to every conflict resolution. Yeah, so there's some situations where, we have to know our own skills as a person. If we don't have like a PhD, or even a bachelor's degree in that specific subject, we can't always, and maybe even in a metaphoric way, like if we don't have a lot of experience with something, it's not good to play the counselor, but to get help from other people who have that experience. Okay, get them together. Tell the two parties you want to help them work through their differences. Find a time they can both get together to discuss their conflict. So yeah, that's the last point of this article is, for that section, I think. Sorry, no, that's not the last point. So basically, try to, with the mediator, try to, resolve it with that mediator, get the two parties together. This is just giving kind of tips about the mediator taking the lead and giving each person a chance to speak. So listen to both sides, allow for discussion, take a side if appropriate, offer a few compromises, encourage them to make up. So I've heard a cool advice in a lot of conflicts is, you want to win the person and not the argument. you know, obviously if you don't like a person, then, you know, you have to really realize, okay, am I arguing with this person because I want them out of my life completely? Or am I trying to help this person and have them help me? You know, and so you have to really realize, you know, are you trying to win the person, or are you just trying to argue with somebody and prove that you're right? So yeah, I hope this helps, you know, anyone that has been interested in how to resolve conflict, because conflict is literally like a good chunk of you know, experiences in life. And so thank you so much for watching this, and I will see you next time. See ya.